Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome, my lovely audience, to Fate Hollow Ataraxia. I know I said I wasn't going to stream, but I got home from my 7-hour drive, and I decided, you know what? I really want to stream. So, here I am. Ta-da! So let's get started. Also, I noticed we are currently 72% of the way through Fate Hollow Ataraxia. That's right, we are close to finishing the game. We are almost 3/4. Rip. Yes, I'm gonna make a thing about that later, but yeah, that's something. But yeah, 6.5, man. Lost Belt 6.5 is something, to say the least. Okay, let's see. So we got the church, station front, and Ryder. So let's go talk to Ryder. Yeah, man, I was genuinely tearing up. I think I'm gonna make a memorial video, actually, because, man, yeah. Shout out to Salome, though. I'm surprised how well they handled her. Like, no, she didn't actually fall in love with the PC. Like, she was able to tell, even in the middle of her madness enhancement, that, oh hey, this isn't John. This is just my friend. And I am going to help my friend stay alive. Hello, Ryder. Oh. What's wrong, Ryder? Oh. Okay, Ryder, what's going on? Start opening this afternoon. Oh, hairstylist. At least we have Kronheim doting over Sieg, like, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, Kremhide definitely considers him to be like a son or a nephew or something. Like, change your name immediately, because things are gonna happen. Because bad things are gonna happen to you if you don't. Yeah. Do you know if, I haven't seen anything about it one way or the other, but do you know if Kremhide has any lines for Altera? Because I'm kind of curious about that. Because, you know, they did technically marry. Even if it was just political. Oh. Yeah. Right, goes to the hair salon. Down boy, that's a good way. You're not wrong, but I mean, worth. Haven't seen also, yeah. Yep. Ah. Yep. You want to know if Altera has new lines for her too? Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But that'd be interesting. Although it didn't seem like Altera particularly cared about her too much when we saw her in the when they talked about her in the interlude. Sakura's well-being. Yep. I don't think Tosaku would spend the money on a salon, quite frankly. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, her interlude is mostly just preferring Altera over Attila. Yeah, true. But when they do bring it up, she's like, huh? Oh yeah, that person. When they do bring up Krumhide, she's like, oh yeah, that person existed once. along those lines.
で、藤
喜ぶかもしれませ
She
ん。
might enjoy it.
ですから、あまり化粧をする人柄ではありませんが、シローが美容室に行きたいと言えば、
True.
もしもの話で、ライダー。
美容室は午後からです。それも、
Ah.
かくいう私は。
なんでだ？
そうなのですが。
Yeah, I can see why he'd be bothered by mirrors. Medusa. Yeah.
伝説でいうところの石化の魔眼を跳ね返した。
Mm-hmm.
ライダー、髪切るとき、そうなると。
しません。
Yeah.
ペルセウスは鏡に映った風景を。
ああ。
Yep.
別に鏡に倒されたってわけでもないんだし。
Yeah.
それがそうでも、女神の盾は魔眼は封じられずとも、私を倒したのは
Aside
確か
from,
に鏡なの
wonder
です
how
から。
Bryn feels aside from murdery, of course. That being, although Brynhilde and Brunhild appear to be two separate characters. There's a little bit of synchronization between the two, but at the very least, it seems like Brynhild and Brunhild are mostly separate. Bro, I feel bad for Sieg. Probably gets off by... Now, the line, have you seen the translation for the line? It's like, sit down, tell me everything. She's like, you better change your name because a name like that's only going to get you into get you into dying heroically. And then she's like, wait, you looked away. Sit down and tell me everything you've done right now. Because she knows that Sieg did something like what, Siegfried would do. And she's right. In fact, Sieg kind of did something even more heroically self-sacrificial.
Huh?
どうしても聞きたい。
いや、どうして？
Yeah.
あ、いや、話してくれるな。
わかりました。あのような出来事は思い出す。あれは今の私とは違う。
Getting the story of Ryder's last end. Gorgon. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Solitary Island was one of the places where the exiled by gods lived. Hideous monster ending at the end of the world. Titan ruins. Yep. The Shapeless Isle. I remember the Shapeless Isle. I remember the Shapeless Isle. We went there in Septum. And there was a Gorgon there, but not the Gorgon. Good thing you have headphones on right as well. Yeah, that's fair. Island was drastically different from what he heard before. Sun did not shine, air was stale, all living things melted away. Oh. Yeah. Deeper into places he was escaping, the dreams of the monster were long gone. Find the monster, take its head, and escape from the island as quickly as possible. Sieg really gonna have to explain how her husband offed himself for him. Yes, yeah, Kriemhild is like, tell me everything you've done. Because, yeah, she's like adopted him as like her unofficial son or something. Because she is concerned about him. and wants him to behave himself and not be like Siegfried. So, a few minutes. Heartbeat of monsters approaching fast. View distorted. Grotesque. You see, it all started quite literally in Sieg's case, yeah. You see, all the trouble started when I was born. And they saw that I had a ton of magic circuits. Gosh, yeah, you be right. Self-suggestion to force himself to look at nothing but the shield until the very end. It's already too late to back away, a fight was inevitable. He suddenly realized something about the legend was off. 3 beautiful sisters only showed 2 heartbeats, his and the monster in front of him. Then, where could the sister have gone to? Well... Gosh, that is certainly a Gorgon, an image of Gorgon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gorgon is something. Just ask Emmy Archer to explain with him how life is weirded. Oh, yeah. Hagen was... Yeah, Hagen. Hagen. Yeah. Yeah. And then she proceeded to destroy the homeland in revenge. Thus, yeah. She teamed up with Altera to destroy the land that killed her husband. Then it turned out that was Sieg intentionally sacrificed himself in Fate. Well, in the Fate version, Sieg intentionally sacrificed himself. Or, well, basically, end of the day, TLDR. Siegfried messed up. Siegfried messed up bad. He made a wrong call. And because of that, the land that he sought to protect got destroyed. Breaker Gorgon, yep. Mm-hmm. Bad go, but Kremhide side can't communicate literally. I wouldn't say it's Kremhide that couldn't communicate. It was more Siegfried that couldn't communicate and then caused everything to fall apart. Also Hagen. The inside of the bag became the outside, the outside became the inside. Prison became a mirror that reflected the Gorgon, who was outside the bag. Nightmare, yep. Oh, it was a joke on the VA? Oh, okay, got it, got it, got it, I get it now. Okay, well, take care, Brendan. Yep. Medusa's story is a sad one.
何分昔の話ですし。
そっか。
はい。あれ以来自分の姿を見ることが。
Yeah, I can imagine.
別に見ても。
そういうことです。加えてその後、あんな若造に私をいい。
Mirrors on my sweater.
ええ。 そうです
Yep.
ね。彼も神々に乗せられた同情の余地はあれ。
で、
個人的に
Personally, there's no way I could bring
後に
myself.
立派
Yeah.
な人物。
ふーん。
そうですね。一言で言って。
He was a successful Shinji. I've heard this line talked about before, but it's really funny to see it actually in context. And Shiro's just as stunned. Yep.
全く実に気に食わない。これというのもあの厳しさえなかった。
Yep.
何あ、いや、悪かった。
Yep.
悪夢なんか思い出したくもない。
いい夢はお互い様なので、
Oh.
私からちゃんと聞かせ。その
What was your nightmare, Rider? Being being tormented by your sisters.
はい、ここにいます。なんでしょう、上姉様、下姉様。なんでしょうじゃないでしょう。今晩私と私。
Two of us, yeah.
はあ、姉様方は私たちの妹なのにどうしメドゥーサ、脳が私たちの手のひらほどもないのかしら。夕食のもう私たちの道だ。
Attires were ready.
はい、支度は
Poor Medusa.
いたします。きっとこの子は生半可な支度をして。そんなことはありません。あらねえ私。
Oh gosh.
そうね、
Uriel instead, no.
かわいそうだけど、かわいい妹のためですもの。少し上姉様、反省してます。反省してます。明日から頑張りますから。いいわ。
Uriel.
もうじき楽しい宴だし。なんの信じられない。私には
Yeah. Poor Medusa. She's like Cinderella.
かわいそうに。
Medusa Cinderella Cinderella Medusa win.
ひどいした姉様。
We have Cinderella. Now in Cinderusa.
1000年早いっていういいことメデューサ。メデューサの分際でパーティーに出、そういうことは大きなお友達のファンクラブができて。まあ
I don't know. I'd say Medusa has a fair group of fanboys nowadays.
それだと
I know of at least
メ
two.
デューサは一生社交。上姉様、それはと私の言うことがあなたみたいな大女に
Oh
惚れる者はいない
no,
ってことよ。
that's not true at
と
all.
いうか、あなたに似合う男なんて。そうね。残念だけど、キス一つと殿方に背伸びをさせるな。そんな。
The modern day is quite different.
私だってというか精一杯体を縮めてその程度の。私たちだったら美しく抱き上げていただけるけど。
Maybe Atlas and nobody else.
ええ。でも
He
彼
showed her his
わ
bag.
かった？今のトレンドはコンパクト&スリム。
Man.
ひどいです。泣いたとこあんたが上から涙を流し。あらあら。そこまで言っても
Poor
かわい
Medusa.
そうよ。
Just getting bullied by her sisters.
メドゥーサらしい浅ましいドリ。だから私、今夜の宴。
So she could look small.
もちろんポセイドン様に尋ねられたらお恥ずかしい話ですが、私どもの妹。
Oh.
姉様方。
Yeah. They make a huge deal about her, but she's short. Yeah. Medusa. Yeah, the Fate girls are smaller. Are surprisingly small. All things considered. Like, I'm taller than most of them, and I'm shorter than average height for a male anywhere in the world, really. I think.
悪夢の話。
気が変わりました。それに。それでは失礼。それと、誤解なきように言っておくのです。私が動きを止めたのは。
え？
今の白と同じ振り回されてばかりでしたが。
Yep, I was being whipped around by everyone, but those are still the best days of my life.
私が鏡を嫌うのは、それを思い出してしまうからかもしれません。
See, this is why I was really happy when I rolled Stendo, because I got to reunite the three sisters.
振り回されてばかり。
No, that's a lie. Shiro, that's a lie. You are absolutely getting whipped around. See now the living room? The living room it is. Oh, King's clothes are a swimsuit. Skip. A little lie can save a life. Set the tray down. Thank you for the tea. Chocolate truffles. Wait.
セイバーさん。
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Gosh dang it, Sakura. Stendo, stop being welcome after the 6th appearance. I only got her once. Hid inside the closet. He hid inside the closet. Oh. Sakura is suspicious. Stop moving the camera around. I can't keep the BB sensor up on Saber if she keeps moving around. How are you so thin? Hold on a second. Fate. There we go. Now BB is where she should properly be, I think, for this situation. Saber burns a lot of energy. Got a feeling that she just has something she shouldn't have. Offer you a piece of advice. Person that eats their food without worry ends up having a far more delicious meal. Telling you I can't. There's no flab. Secret British dieting technique. Secretly doing aerobic exercise. I think it's the dragon thing. You speak as if it would be considered foul play. I said, cease and desist this transference of location, Saber. BB is getting a workout today. BB does not need a workout. Yes. Yep. Yep, Saber, don't grow. Cease and desist your locomotion. Kinjov. Nope, Sakura is not listening. Enlarge the BB. Do well about the power of your own words. Certainly unusual. Yep. We will grow strong, Sakura. Strong enough to lose the thick sensor. I'm no stranger to a body complex myself. Right. Starting tomorrow, let's go on a diet. I will help too. Every night after getting out of breath, I will mark my weight on a graph and calculate my calorie intake. It is alright, I will always be your side, Sakura. Rider, your body never changes either, does it? Nothing escapes Sakura's eye. Even you, you're lying, right? Since I'm a servant, it does not matter how much I won't get any taller than this. Wait, were they talking about height? Traitor? Mr. Guys did not. Do not worry. Lately she's been going into a petrified state as a means of coping with shock. Oh, her body aligns itself with the servant. See, although I did not have any intentions. Nope, just culturally true. I was about to say. Sakura has become quite the burden! Saber, no! Have they left? Bobbity dot 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 dot. There we go. As if. Please put something on. Yep, there we go. And now BB sensor can go hide away again. But wait, shoot, there we go. Yes, I can take a breath too, because I don't have to keep shifting BB around while still trying to keep the text as viewable as possible. Cool in Shinto sometime. Yep. Hey, pool party with Saber, although we already did that. Call it a day. And we move along. See now, what do we got? Just a plot relevant thing. Great. Let's talk to Lizariet. Mountain Trail, Mountain Trail. Liz. Lizariet. Hello. She come from straight. Good morning, Shiro. Good morning, Liz. What are you doing? First time coming to Singapore? Sensed a bad aura around here. Punish the evil. Yep. There is evil around here. Have a look. Want it? Do you want the evil? Found it there. I had looked thinking maybe enemy of Ilya, but has Ilya sent to mystery? What is that? A tarot card made of a piece of cloth? Wait. Wait a second. That is... has Ilya's scent and is... looks like a tarot card in Fuyuki. Ancient class card that somehow got over here. Prisma Ilya foreshadowing? Was that foreshadowing for Prisma Ilya? I think it was. Oh no, you're in danger, Shiro. Odd picture card. See, there's Caster. No Yuri lollies, please. Yeah. Caster, hello! It's not usually...
前聖杯戦争について
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. Oh. What's wrong?
そう人間の敵と
Oh, Medea backstory? Medea myth. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Medea really got screwed over. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh. Let me go back, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Medea got a really rough hand. Let me go back. Mm-hmm. That was the real big part. Marriage of the man named Jason. Yep. Medea got a rough hand. Thanks, Aphrodite. Killing you in Olympus was fun.
あ、そうだ。
また来たの？私が一人でいる。
Mm-hmm. Yep.
いや、ちょっと今は機嫌が良さそうだ。
Oh.
何かしら。
ただの質問。長居するのも恐ろしいし、サクッと。ただ、あんたほどの魔術師なら、この4日間のことなんて簡単に調べがつく。なら本当の話。
Do you already know
面
what's
白い
happening?
こと。私が。
Yep. Oh.
確かに初めは手を尽くして危うく天をつかみそうになったわ。ほら、お遊戯は
Play
全
ends
て
when
を
all
知
is
れば
known,
終わってしまう
doesn't
で
it?
しょ。
That's why I ceased the search and just let it be.
そりゃ同じことだろう。
え
Pretty much,
え。
yep.
でも犯人を当ててしまったら事件はおしまいですもの。
なるほど。
There are no
犠牲
victims,
者
so
は
you're
出
just
ないから。
spectating.
じゃあ、
私から手を出す気はない。
Yep.
でも最後の時にな終わるというのなら私も黙って。
For end, then I would rather it's not me but my master, yep. Mm-hmm. Having Gramps all of Aphrodite's debuffs with a yeah.
あんたとしては続けたいけど。
そうよ。
いや
犯人の邪魔はしないけど、いえ、できないのよ。わかる？だからあなたは目障りなの。続けたいっていう。ほんと。あら、私が
Yeah.
あんたはとことん傍観者だってことは分かったよ。
Oh no.
どうしても何？
No
マ
reason
スターが
particular.
一度も。
そうか。最後に仮に久月総一郎がこの
What do you
以上
think
に
he'd do?
な。本当。
Yep.
解決するわ。
He would
総一
resolve
郎
it.
の善悪は坊やとは
そっか。
違うわね。
It is you who's like Soichiro.
ああ、つまんない話をして悪かった。
言われなくてもその。
Yep.
そうね。一人で頑張っているあな。
Oh.
何ですかその顔は。
分かってる。お世辞抜きで頼りにする。あんたたちに手伝ってもらえるのは。
Mm-hmm. Kuzuki and Castor. Best master. One of my favorite master servant pairs. Not best, but one of my favorites. Oh.
本当の話。
What really happened? Oh! I see your master is like me. Present that is like reality, the illusion that resembles reality, that is wrong just like you are, master. These disjointed thoughts swirl together and dissolve, a muddy mess. Scenes of the present world that have already become the memory of another. Memories from when she was still a demon and a bad dream she had just seen a little earlier. Like the cauldron where the old sheep was boiled, the dead and living are mingled
本
together.
当の話。
Which by so ominously, perhaps an evening shower, thunder can be heard in the distance, the sound of rain hitting the trees evokes a scene of where they first met. Even if she gives it frustration, the only thing can happen in her mind that day. The dried out palms of the man grasped by the hand of a foolish woman who had never been chosen by anyone. Rain is falling. Ah, so we're getting the scene where Kuzuki meets Castor. Yep. And she's just laying there, about to die. "25 years back." Oh, we're getting Kuzuki's backstory. Did not know what the group was right until the end. In the most secluded mountains, amidst a community that gathered and lived like mountain aesthetics, he came into existence. Without parents or siblings, he was born as a child with no connections whatsoever. It could be more accurate to be called an emergence rather than a birth. The baby grew up in the midst of that gathering. Fortunately, he was pure, even though that wasn't much of a place for living. Even though that probably wasn't how people lived. He who knew not of the outside world accepted that gathering. 20 years since then. He did not leave his allotted 10 square meters of forest, and continued to temper the one technique he was bestowed with. Around the age of 10, he was told the community was a factory. A place where the necessities of daily life are mass-produced through the work of many. Since he had no experience in creating things, he didn't have to wonder which side he was on. He had no objection to the fact that he was a daily necessity. Instead, you could probably say he was relieved. It would have been strange otherwise. All day long, he single-mindedly repeated the same steps. No need for variety, just perfect this one action, said the blank. That's the same as being a tool. They consented to the fact that they were tools being used by total strangers, and further polished their function. To put it another way, those unable to come to terms or grief-stricken became unable to keep up with their daily work and disappeared even from the memory of the tools. It was shortly after that when he guessed his own function. Extra knowledge was driven into them for when the time came. Daily necessities though they may be, they had become pseudo-humans to manifest their function. The knowledge necessary to function as a human. While considered an excess, it was rare for them to be used without that knowledge. Although it seemed were against including extra functions, it was something unavoidable. To him it was no doubt an agonizing decision. I just noticed I qualify for clips now. My live stream has clips. Sorry, I got distracted. I noticed that in the chat that I can clip things now. Oh, that's so great. Okay, back to stream. Knowledge he hadn't been taught until then. Things that are common knowledge for a human, things that would make him inconsistent if learned. It was only dead weight to slow him down. However, thanks to that knowledge, he learned the name of his function. Murderer. To be detected by no one. To kill the victim before they are even aware of it. That was the function expected of him. Now pay attention to this, everybody, because this is going to be relevant when Mihoyo releases in English. Being a fast learner, he left his square 10 meters of forest, and came to serve more frequently at the court. Time to clip say it. No! But even that happened well, I mean, if you want to clip me panicking and trying to get everything back, but whatever. Who knows? But even that only happened a month or so. Then there he learned the cost of perfection and the appearance of the who were using him. The court was an immaculately clean place. I mean, I can't stop you I can't stop you from clipping whatever you're gonna clip. The building where demons were said to live, the place rumored to be a hellish pandemonium, was in fact a spotless white void. The scraps of the tools that didn't listen to and were disassembled while alive, and the remnants of those who brought shame to and had their brains transplanted into animals as punishment, and the fish tanks packed with the This is getting surprisingly intense all of a sudden. None of it was there. Oh, so that wasn't there. No, this certainly happened, but they had nothing to do with this place. Having not one speck of guilt, as an ineffective form of stating button, aimed for nothing but the expansion of tonight's menu by a mouthful, exchanged completely unrelated lives for money. Please save me. I don't want to die. Please let me go. Those pleas were all laughed off as filthy in silence. And so, without clip the first encounter with the robot. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, if you see now we have a little scissors in the chat where you can clip the things. So if you see something that really funny or interesting, just click on that little thing and then you should be able to clip a section of the live stream. And then please share those clips in the chat so that I can make use of them myself. And so without even realizing, the ones exploited realized something in their final moments. These humans were speaking a different language all along. These are both living beings, yet their hearts were created differently. Things like the voice of the dishes lined up along the dinner table did not exist to them. The voices of other humans would never in a lifetime reach them. This is not a matter limited to just their court. Thus said the ones who oversaw him. Those are the privileged few who use us tools. This is the world governed by humans who are not humans. He was told his function was to kill just one person for them. He didn't think that was evil. Mentally, he was already perfect. His morality was bred for the convenience of the... To him, murder was not evil. If anything was evil, then it was actions that were not logical. The logic of a tool, the logic of existence. Simply put, if an ink brush loses its use, then that is evil. If something made for killing people overlooks its target, that is injustice. If you put it this way, we're not doing anything wrong. They were creatures that had been given such preferences and privileges to begin with. If they cared about their slaves, then the reasoning by which the world was managed would not stand. And that was how he was taught. While he witnessed the cruelty, he did not detest them. If there was anything evil, it was just one thing. Do not doubt one's own function. That should have been what was correct for him, yet for some reason he still thought about it. What if he were given a function altogether different from this one? He thought about things that could have been nothing but evil, like what kind of tool he would have then become. Towards this function, his daily routine continued. The art bestowed upon him was a fighting style called Snake, but he perfected it many years ago. Nevertheless, his daily routine did not change. No new techniques would be given to him. He was simply created as a snake tool. However much capacity he had, there would be no meaning in adding other functions. And like that, another 10 years had passed, and he reached the 20th. Finally, nearing his expiration date as a tool, he was given a chance to exert his potential. Your perfection costs 20 million in time and money. If there was anything different there from other organizations, that would be it. No matter what tool they were, no matter what kind of function they had, a one-man, one-kill rule was strictly observed. The exact same awaited both the outstanding talent and average junk. That's poor business right there. That's bad economics. Profits will be taken, you will not be used twice. Kill yourself after fulfilling your duty. Those were the absolute rules. Ordered to kill this person, he underwent training beyond human comprehension. And having perfected the technique after 10 years of practice, he will display it only once before putting an end to everything. He obeyed in silence. It was that the target laid out layer upon layer of defenses. The social positions necessary for smoothly making contact would be provided by the... After that, he just had to proceed with his body alone. Proceeding empty-handed was done solely to make it easier to make contact with the key individual. When they leave the forest, they are promised death. A journey to die regardless of success or failure. Feelings of happiness, frankly, they were likely there, however faint. Settling a balance of 20 years, finding out the extent of his function. Even if the outcome was death, that was still plenty to look forward to. The work ended all too quickly. There were none of the expected guards or barriers. When he visited the building to do preliminary inspections for the real thing, he ended up finishing the job. The emotions of that moment were not easy to put into words. What came flying into his chest was nothing. Neither joy nor sadness. Neither disgust nor happiness. Shouldn't there be something? He thought his function would be accompanied by some emotion, but not a single ripple disturbed his mind. If only... Suppose something did move within him at that moment. Wouldn't that make him a different being altogether? If there was happiness, then on to the suicide. If there was sadness, then on to being a natural-born killer. But there had been nothing. Feelings and so forth. There were none whatsoever in the fruits of the technique he spent 20 years tempering. There was neither pleasure nor discomfort when he killed. Only the feeling of the puppet-like target's neck breaking was left in the palm of his hand. There was no reward, nor was there compensation. The shock of taking a person's life was nowhere to be found. Even his function itself seemed strained. Didn't need it. It was completely unnecessary. The murder of this target required no technique whatsoever. It was more like an accident. A level of difficulty that needed no training. An assassination that kids in the neighborhood could have performed. It was all excessive. How on earth could something of 20 years of training have been needed? His function that was left with nothing. The pilgrimage that was of no meaning to begin with. It's not that doubt had surfaced. There was probably no reason. There was no reason in anything. Before the corpse that he only knew the name of, he became aware of his usual apathetic self.
乾いているな。
I'm dull. Drawing up that conclusion himself, he decided to liquidate the person he was up until then. He did not commit suicide, but instead withdrew from the gathering and became independent. He did not even think about the option of going underground and hiding himself. He quite naturally moved to a faraway town and used the social position that was given to him for fulfilling his function. The personality prepared for him was one of a teacher, but he was able to master the basic knowledge and skills somehow. He had no difficulty adjusting to his new role, his completely different life, but there was just one trivial matter bothering him, like a small thorn stuck in the recesses of his mind. He did not realize what that strange feeling was until the very end. The life that he did not assume would continue for more than half a year has in fact continued for 5 years. There were none that searched for him, and he himself decided that he would live without regard for his pursuers. It was not that he yearned for a normal life. In the 20 years he lived, he only polished his technique for killing. If the result was something like that, then all that remained was to disappear without accomplishing anything more, he concluded. In short, he had lost the opportunity to find joy in life. Humans spend the rest of their lives fulfilling the hopes they've accumulated up into adulthood. Whether or not they are fulfilled is not the issue. They are in fact an anesthesia that can expend more time, originally filled with nothing but agony. He who had none of this could only continue on meaninglessly. He had neither ideals nor illusions. He decided that he would fulfill the duty of living until his own flesh would rot away, until the tool known as himself ceased to work. That would see him as a cold-hearted machine, but he was a human no different from those around him. It's just that his inspiration had died. What is dead does not revive. It is not that it is sleeping in the depths of his heart or that it has regressed or anything. It just doesn't exist anymore. No matter how human-like a life he tries to live, he will never in his life feel inspiration. He never thought it to be painful, and the people around him assumed he was strong, too. There is nothing wrong with that assumption, but he did make an effort to rot away meaninglessly like this. With his dead heart, he walked the path of hell and endeavored to live among humans. And then he met that pale woman. He was returning home after finishing the day's work. As he was heading towards the temple gate, he caught sounds coming from the forest. Having been indebted to the temple, he took it as his obligation to see what was going on, and he found a woman covered in blood. The woman wrapped in the black cloak was so weak that it seemed like she would disappear at any moment. She seemed so frail that the words vanish rather than die would be more fitting to describe her appearance. Later on, the witch would think this meeting was a miracle, but the thought was not hers alone. Even if it were an illusion, the impossible happened. The heart that had beat at the same rhythm for tens of years had stopped for just an instant. The interruption had been a minor effect, but it did change the beat. Something that should have been dead trembled as if to stir.
そこで何をしている?
The woman collapsed without responding to his call. Forest in the night, rain, a weakened body, clearly not a decent person. Trivial matters, including a cloak covered in blood. This woman is dangerous. Even if he tried to distance himself from it, he was out of place as well. There was no way he couldn't pick up the scent of one who was the same as him. But still, he looked after the woman. It was not out of sympathy for someone similar, a fellow murderer that he had saved. He helped because a person had collapsed before him. The reason why he saved her was simply that. The woman awoke in about an hour.
起きたか? 事情は話せるか?
The woman stared at him dazed. There was neither bewilderment nor delight. She looked as if her despair at being alive had turned to tears and were about to spill forth.
迷惑だったのなら帰るがいい.
If what I did was an inconvenience, then you can leave. If you tell me to forget about it, then I will. How did the woman take his words? Did she think she could use him, or did she let her guard down in his kindness? The woman diverged her background, and he all too quickly accepted her rather peculiar identity. He embraced the woman, and also acknowledged participation in the killings known as the Holy Grail War. Of course, the witch was probably surprised too. The woman's condition was, although slightly, improving. Because while she had While she goaded it, she could have. The moment she were rejected, used magic to control his heart, her vile schemes were undone with just a single statement. It's not that he consented to her out of fear, but that he was interested in the Holy Grail War. He cooperated with the woman because she had asked for his help. He was a man who saw no evil in murder to begin with. He had no reluctance in becoming a master. However, the truth is that he cooperated to distance himself from the past. If you would assume there would be a moment of disconnection, then this would be it. He did not realize why he had abandoned the life he worked for until now and taken up the woman's cause. Do your utmost to keep our lives this way. Tell me when you need me. This was his policy. He had no desires. It was just that the woman he saved wants something called the Holy Grail. If he fights, then it is not for the Holy Grail, but for the woman. Since he promised to aid and cooperate, lending his strength to the woman is a natural obligation. To him, the Holy Grail was an abnormality, but it was not a wrongdoing. Because to him, evil is defined as something that negates his established function. And so he became the master of Castor. He was a master without command seals, but she obeyed his words. He knew nothing like magic to begin with. She only used him to stay in this world and planned to treat him as a puppet. And he himself did not participate in the Holy Grail War, rather he left the fighting to the woman. If there was ever a chance that he would reject her, it would only happen if she denied the Holy Grail War to begin with. As the user and used, the relationship was perfect. I want to go back. Yet, for the same reason, they did not mesh together as human beings. The more the woman began to change her mind, the more of a reason he had to abandon being a master. And the more he experienced her character, the more he broke down as a tool. I want to return to my country before I die. That sense of nostalgia. He who had no place to return with could not possibly understand it. No, it was an emotion he should not have understood. Whoa, Castor versus Soichiro versus Gilgamesh from the Fate group. The battle ended quickly. The gatekeeper assassin was defeated by the enemy servant, and the master who went out to face him too was defeated by the rain of swords. His abdomen was cruelly torn apart. The arms he spent over 20 years tempering vanished below his shoulders.
Master! Master!
The woman's voice echoed in the temple grounds. The enemy servant seemed to have left, having finished with the servant and master of the temple gate. Only the woman was left, clinging to remains of her pallid contractor. With eyes that had lost focus, barely able to discern silhouettes, he looked at her. Seeing that crying face, he found himself lamenting over having done something inexcusable. It was not an illusion that his fading conscience was showing him. His heart, that should not have existed, shed blood on the verge of death. No one wished to return home. The idea of a place to return to did not exist for him. A repeated sense of nostalgia. A place he'd never seen nor heard of. A dream of paradise that he himself did not have an impression of to begin with. That he did not know how to take in even in his last moments. Castor, get away from here. If he senses your presence, servant must now return, he said indifferently. Condition of his body inside, it was a miracle that his spirit was in good health. Perhaps it was the result of his long days of training. Until the moment his brain stopped working, his mind was clear. The woman didn't leave. It was a bit illogical. Of course, losing a master to anchor to is a serious blow, but not to the extent that it would result in death. In fact, she had lost one before. Considering the possibility of being attacked by the same servant again, it would best to leave as quickly as possible and search for another master. A miracle would not happen. The magical energy stockpiled in Ryoto Temple had been destroyed by the enemy servant, and the energies inflicted were with the mortality cursed by the noble phantasm. Whilst crying, the woman recited magic as if apologizing. But it was no use, even the divine words she spoke had lost their usual power. The woman's face was filled with more sadness than before. Neither healing the wounds nor regenerating his body was fast enough. She could not save anything. A witch's role is only to cure humans. Even if she could cure people and animate the dead, genuinely saving a person was simply not possible. Perhaps it was because she hadn't tried to save anyone up until now. She had not known of that rule until this very moment. Magic did not work. She called for help, but no aid ever came. The sky she looked up to was high, and she could not stop his falling body temperature. I feel so bad for Castor here. He hears wailing. Looking at her crying face gives him a headache. He realizes that this is because of sadness, and finally accepts that he could not become a tool. He just thought to live normally. When he murdered a person and became free, he accordingly took up the view for the rest of his life could only be spent away. What a blatant lie. He dared not admit it, but he actually regretted that. He always kept in his heart the meaningless 20 words and the person he killed whom he only had known by name. He always thought it was wrong to kill someone who he knew only the name of. That was not a killing born from his own motives. He was not an adult born from his own will. How should he have atoned for his mistake? It had been fun. It was easy to do nothing but hone one single technique, to forget about thinking and be a tool. Being preoccupied with that, he erased 2 lives without a single consideration. Is there any evil greater than this? Even if those had raised him were to shoulder a part of his crime, even if he didn't know a thing, what had killed another person was, inevitably, his own hands. The reason why he went on to live was because he didn't know how to atone. He stopped practicing the technique that he could call his one and only purpose, and slowly buried it within his daily life. Wishing for nothing, gaining nothing. That was the best form of atonement that he could conceive in his mind. That way of living crumbled after meeting this woman. The pale-looking lady wandered about in the cold rain. She was simply beautiful. More beautiful than any woman he had seen before. That was the only reason. To that beautiful creature he reached out his hand. Looking back on it, throwing away all those days of atonement he had accumulated and lending her hand was surely... No one's voice had turned into a cry. What he thought was rain was something much warmer. The woman did not leave. Just as that night, arms covered in blood clung to his chest. It is truly sad that he could not see her face anymore, he thought.
そうか。ようやく気がついた。
It took too long, but still, there was some time. He had for a long time wanted to apologize for something. Things he had regretted. Something he had to beg for forgiveness. So long ago, to that which he had vaguely carried until now, he had wanted to live for someone's sake. To that pure longing.
キャスター。
The woman would not leave, even though the footsteps of death may have already gotten close. It seemed as though the apology was directed at himself. That is enough. He could no longer apologize, but in exchange the woman had done it for him. Only one concern remained. He had to release this beautiful bird back to where it came from.
キャスター。
The one who would by no means leave him. When he could no longer foresee anything, in the interval when he would allow for everything.
いいから。もう行きなさい、君は。
Feeling more peaceful than he ever had, he told the woman who clung to his remains. Where the woman who was left took off to is already a distant story. The woman was not what he thought her to be. The conclusion was not one that he hoped for. The story of the fallen killer and the witch ends here. If there was any salvation, it was in the brief instant after they had met. The life that lasted less than a month was filled with many times more humanity and tranquility than what existed up until then. Dizziness overcame her, as if having seen a fragmented dream. The witch in black cloak is liberated from the evening rain. She narrowed her eyes with slight vertigo and looked up to the glooming sky.
できっこないことを言われ羽なんて
But surely he saw her that way up until the end. Even if she had fallen to the ground, her wings were light. Someday they would slow off the dirt and return to the skies.
気の回らない人。立ち寄った場所を気に入って。空を忘れる渡り鳥だ。
Castor and Soichiro are just such a great couple. Wallpapers added. We call it a day. Okay. Next loop. Next day. October 10th. As usual, there's nothing for noon on October 10th. October 10th has just been cleared out. There is nothing to do that day. At all. We call it a day. Better husband than Jason ever was and ever will be. Yep. Let's see, Sakura, Saber. Let's talk, or we could go to the Ilya. We'll talk to Ilya we go. See now, Sakura, what are you doing here? Da 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 da.
Oh.
Yep. Fancy tea room. My grandmother has a room like this in her mansion. My grandmother has a little it's not a mansion because it's not that big, but they got this place built for them. She had this place built for her and grandpa that was pretty big. And they have some pretty fancy looking rooms. Are you gonna ask Ilya if you can have a dinner here? Go with dinner, Sakura. Oh no, this is gonna go poorly.
Ilya!
シロいいわよ。
Ilya!
どうしたのシロ？
一応覚えている。
Oh.
何？
その、なんだ。
Oh.
いいわよ。
I know you have bad manners already.
あ、とど。
Oh no! Oh no! Shiro, no!
さくらとなんだけど。
No, Rip Shiro, we just triggered a death flag. Poor Ilya.
さくらとお城出て。
デート？
構
わないわ。そこに座っ。
Go sit over there, Shiro.
さくらとのいつか一緒に豪華な場所で。
そう？
Oh. This is only a villa, it's modest.
いや、十分に豪華だ。Fuyuki do.
Okay, much less Fuyuki. Yep.
なるほどね。
ああ、いや。
What are you gonna do about the clothes?
つまり。
いや、もう本当。
Yep.
その辺は白らしい
You dressing up Sakura.
うん。
You two I'd have to do that for.
これがリンとのデートだったら。
Date it wouldn't be out of the question. But if it's Sakura, I'll go along with it. Also, Sakura is the one I have to support and you are the one I have to look after. What a useless worthless older brother branding.
それはつまり OK.
Dinner party tonight. Fancy clothes. Oh. Ilya's gonna cause trouble. You haven't noticed yet? Heh.
シロ、あなたその格好で我が家のパ。
He's gonna change. Yep.
今さらびっくりしないの。
いや、俺
Don't have a suit in the first place.
ねえシロ、私が OK したのはシロを
Just like you're gonna Sakura. Heh. Oh no.
シロ、我が家の晩餐。
お城で晩餐。
それに、さくらもシロの
Yep. Salas. Ninjas.
何かご用でしょうか。
シロにタキシードを用意して、それが済んだら、さくらのドレスの。
かしこまりました。
Oh.
イリア。
そうね。
Shiro may resist, but dress him forcibly if necessary. Yep.
それではまずエミヤさん。
わかってる。
Hehe. Yoink.
イリア。
いい加減に覚悟しな
Just
さい。
shoulder and you want to Sakura and jet. This is the law of equivalent exchange. I think that was added in by the translators. I'm fairly certain that wasn't in the original.
そうだ。
心配には及ばないわ。
Yep. The invitation. Written invitations are always nice and
いろい
fancy.
ろと。
いいのよ。さくらとシロのためだからね。
Yep.
エミヤ様。
あ
Ho ho.
イリア。
それはどうかしら。
Fancy dinner.
はい。
Yep. Come on, tuxes aren't that bad at all. Yep. Fair enough. I wonder what they're gonna do for the Sakura's outfit.
イリアは。
まだ社交界
Hehe, I'm not part of the high society yet. This is
それ
semi-formal.
にしても、
よくわからない。
Mm-hmm.
そうは普段のシロらしくない。あとは、
Should be the princess's debut.
うん、
Oh.
さくら、あの、
Yes, he is. She's embarrassed and nervous. That is a lie. I guarantee you look good at it, Sakura.
もう、ふん、これなら先輩は喜んでくれますか。イリアさん。だって
いや。
Yep. You wouldn't look bad in anything. Done straight.
先輩、
そっちこそ。
もう自衛隊はね、二人とも。
If Shiro laughs, I'll make sure to give him appropriate punishment. Ho ho. Hey, that's the dress. I know that dress. Yep.
ほら、シロ、しっかりさく。
Get together and escort her. Yep. Gotta escort the lady.
あ
その、
あ、そうか。
いや
色なんて。これ似合わないかな。
そんなことないです。姉さんのことだから、先輩を見て、
Yep.
ん？
だって、
Look on the price on the white horse. Yep. Gotta love this little group.
もちろん。
Hey.
日本でこうしてるっていうのは
そうですね。子供の頃から、
おとぎ話か。
We even have a real witch here.
ふふん。さくらとシロをいじめ
The
る。
evil witch you two are teasing is Rin. I'm helping you out, so I'm the good witch. Yep.
うん、ちょっと心配だった。
Yep.
ありがと
すまない。
う。はいはい。晩餐の用意がで。
Hey. Thanks, Ilya.
あ
Yep. Mm-hmm.
俺もだ。
いいのよ。私はグリーンピースをフォークの背に乗せろとか。
Peel onions with a knife and fork.
さて、今日はそれにお
Yep.
二人とも恐縮です。今日はあんまりちゃんとした表。はい。
Oh.
あ
Yep.
あ、その、今日はいろいろイリアに無理をお願いして、イリアにはちゃんとお返しをしたいし。
Yep. Impromptu speeches. They can be hard.
嬉しいです。すごくドレスは綺麗ですし。泣いちゃダメですね。嬉しくても。ありがとう先輩。
Hey.
イリアさん、
Sakura's crying from happiness.
こんな席
This is
に
the
乗られて
victory.
ありがとうさくら。私もこれくらいしか役では。
Hey, yep. Flavorful wine. What a great day
美味しかっ
this would be.
俺もびっくりした。
た。セル
They're
さん
Ilya's
ですかね。
maids, so of course they'd be good.
シェフがいたんでしょうかね。
Oh. Yep.
さ、
先輩、
Yep.
まあな。なんとなく思い出して、結果は予想以上にな。
はい。あ
Mm-hmm.
の時は最
What a
初
great little event.
イリアさんとメイドさんたちがやってきて、こっちが驚いてる間にドレス、
あ、そりゃ。
どういうことか。
Mm-hmm.
こっちも大変だったんだぞ。イリアに相談してよかったよ。
Yep.
そうですね。まるでおとき、私がドレスを着て、
What a
So
great
nice.
little event.
イリアさんが本当
Yep.
魔法。
そうだな。
それで私は階段にガラスの靴を置き忘れ。それでもその時の着飾った
それは、
その方が、
Yeah.
それに
I would disagree with
私
that.
は着飾って先輩と一緒にいるより、
I mean, never. I mean, I get not wanting to do it all the time, but I wouldn't agree that not repeating a once-in-a-lifetime event and making it multiple times in life is good. Yep.
先輩、私
そうだな。ごめんな。
Yep.
どれ、
Mm-hmm.
先輩、
いいって、
私がずっとそばに
Yes.
そばにいる的をさくらって地味で、それでも
Heaven's Feel was all about that. Of course.
セイバーさんが綺麗で焼き餅を焼いたり、
あ、人間なんだから、俺はそういう桜が、
先輩、
まあそういうわけだから、雰囲気のせいか、随分とはい
いえ、はい。
Mm-hmm.
あともう一つ良かったことが、きちんと言葉にしてもらえたことは私だけの秘密ですから。
Yep.
よし。
いえいえ、今日は本当にありがとう。
What a nice
あと、
dinner party.
私と先輩でイリアさんのお家で
藤姉の家に確かあったな。
A dinner party for Ilya.
さて、
大丈夫です。
なるほど。明日になればおやすみ。
Good night,
おやすみな
Sakura.
さい。
Hey. And we will call it there for the night. Okie dokie then. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thanks for joining me as always, my lovely audience. And see you later. Bye-bye.